Okay, are we all set? The reason why I have called for this press conference is to put the record straight. A lot of stuff has been going out there in the media for the last couple of days that concerns me and actually claims that I called for the killing or the death of 5,000 youth. And that is the height of misrepresentation and misinformation. There's no way I can call for the death of my own children. And the saddest part of it is that we want to use social media in a manner that's beneficial to society, but it has been used right now to advance ulterior motives by other people. I never called for that. And I'll tell you exactly what I said. And this had nothing to do with Kenya. I was actually there talking at a function in which a book was being launched by the former chairman of the Somali Electoral Commission. What I told them in there is that the speech, the bulk of the speech, a very long speech, people edited and did a lot of bits and pieces here and put together something just to, take a shot at me. I told them, at the time when the state was collapsing itself, and the former head of state, Mohammed Siad Barre, was pleading with the masses of his own country, give me a small moment so that I can create a transitional authority. I can transfer power to somebody so that you can then have a temporary period in which you people can decide what you want to do with this country. And they refused. And they came in the form of many liberation movements. And I mentioned the names of the liberation movements that time. And I said, I'm not a Somali national. I am not the head of state. I am a Kenyan. I don't think I'll ever become a head of state in here. But if I were him that time, in hindsight, I would have used the possible limited force within that place to maintain the cohesion, the unity, and the stability of the country, instead of leaving the thing and creating a vacuum. And I mentioned that because of that vacuum, at that time, most likely with those liberation movements, if he had used and employed the assets that he had, maximum of probably 5,000 people would have died in that process. But now Somalis have lost over 2 million deaths 33 years back, and they're never going to come together. Once you become a failed state, you better have a despotic, rigid regime than have a failed state. The cost is massive, incalculable, and can last for the longest. And I say this was in hindsight. And I went further and said there are certain people who were called dictators. Fidel Castro, I mentioned his name. I mentioned the name of Lee Kuan Yew, who did come through elections, but at the same time was seen as a very kind of a dictator himself, but a benevolent dictator. And I said they served their countries very well, and they maintained the cohesion together, and there was a zero corruption in their countries at the time. We do have something going on in the country here. It's going to come to an end. But my prayer is, let us have a situation in which this country does not go the way Somalia went, the way Sudan went, the way any of those countries went. Now I do understand, being an ethnic Somali, coming from a constituency that has got 450,000 refugees there, a fractured state called Somalia with, 5 or 6 regions, with a breakaway north there, and all of them, occasionally I weigh on their politics. More than anything else, because I want them to have a stability in their country so that they can take their refugees back. 450,000. They've been here for over 30 years. It's an open prison. They can't travel out the way they want. They can't access education and a lot of other things. And they live in shacks. And I want them back because the environmental degradation in our part, the social destruction. There are a lot of things that are happening in my constituency and the county at large also that essentially cannot be replaced. So that's the reason why I weigh in on the politics of the neighboring countries occasionally, because we're not living in an island. As Somalis, whatever happens in Ethiopia or Somalia has an effect on us because they will come in as refugees, and when they come in as refugees, we're not going to settle them in Thika or in Kakamega or in Machakos. They invariably will be settled in my constituency. Over 30 years of history in the politics of this country. And I'm one person who will say that he has had a track record that is matched by very few people in the political history of this country. And I've always been a Kenyan. What I did, I came in as an opposition member of parliament in 1992 on Fort Kenya. At that time, everybody else from the region was on Kanu, but I stuck to my principles and my philosophy at the time, and that has never changed. It will never change again, in the sense that what I feel in my conscience is best for this country is what I'm going to do. I've served as a deputy speaker in this country. And you remember all my sessions that I chaired at the most critical, most difficult time in this country, when in 2008 we were almost going to become a failed state. So when I'm calling for these things, I'm calling for it because I don't want us to go the Sudan way, or go the Somalia way, or go the Libyan way, or go any of those other ways. So my position is I never call for the death of anybody. I'll never call for it. I have educated thousands of young men and women in this country, from every community in this country. Every community in this country. They're all my children.
Tunasema hatutaki Gen Z ikue siasa na hatutaki ikue ukabila. Tunajua hii kitu kuna watu wametranslate Kisomali na wakakatakata wakabadilisha. Ile siasa iko Somalia, kwa vile Farah Maalim is a East Africa politician Somali. Yeye ndo ana design ile siasa ya Somalia, kwa vile yeye ni kama Raila anakuwa East Africa. Sasa hii siasa ya kulete hapa ili ile maneno yake kukatakata, hiyo hatukubali. Na Farah Maalim ni baba ya watoto 45 na amesomesha. Hao vijana ngapi amesomesha shule hapa, amelipia wengi. Hata unapata alikuwa opposition 1992 back up to now. Sasa tunasema we need peace, and wale wanafikiri watapata propaganda hapa hakuna. Na tunaomba serikali, na tunaomba rais yetu akae na wa vijana, akae na opposition yote. Serikali ajenge serikali mzuri sana. Serikali itakuja kufaa wa Kenya, kila Mkenya. Nchi tunapenda, wa vijana naye naomba tusiharibu nchi yetu. Tukitumiwa na kila mtu, nchi inaweza haribika. Na msichukue sheria kwa mkono yetu. Mtu akikosea tusichukue sheria kwa mkono. Kwa vile Sudani imeharibika kwa hiyo maneno, Somalia imeharibika kwa hiyo maneno. Mambo ya kutengeneza vijana kando tuweke. Farah Maalim, kama tunataka kusema Eric Omondi, kama umesema utazuia parliament, Farah Maalim is elected MP na sisi ndio tumechagua. Umeelewa? Wewe na kuomba tafadhali usikue above the law. Wewe kama unalete mama mboga, kama hakuna sheria inakuzuia, sisi tunalete mama ndizi.
Farah Maalim, the former deputy speaker, said that he'll kill I know how many, which is not possible. Yes. It is not possible to kill 5,000 youths. It's not possible. Don't throw things out of proportion. You cannot kill 5,000 people daily. So stop blowing this thing out of proportions. Gen Z wako loyal. Farah amesema sorry.
Tunasimama na Baba Farah. Na tunasema Baba Farah alimiskotiwa, hakumaanisha ni kuteleza kwa ulimi na ni propaganda ya watu wengine. Na tunasema sika Gen Z kumharibia jina tumekataa. Tunasimama na yeye pamoja kama Gen Z, tunasimama na Baba Farah siku zote. Tunaanguka na yeye ama aje Gen Z. Ndio hiyo kabisa.
Hiyo video ni kitu umetengenezwa, sio Farah Maalim amesema, na hawezi kusema hivyo. Farah Maalim ni mtu mwenye siasa kutoka Safina mpaka wa leo. Ni mtu mheshimiwa. Kwa hivyo watu wasiseme uongo kwa Farah. Na hiyo Eregemondi wanasemekana anafuatilia Farah Maalim, wako harika moja, wako age moja na wako stage moja. Yeye ni comedian, anakaa kama comedian, asifuatilia Farah. Na Farah sio harika yake, kama anatafuta Farah atapatikana. Farah na si mtu kuogopa.